Hello! I'm so thrilled to be here with you in this amazing group today. Thank you so much for letting me be here with you. We're going to be talking a little bit about visibility beyond Facebook. I know it feels like Facebook isn't going anywhere, and I personally don't think it is anytime soon, but it's always good, especially since this group is very empire-minded, to know other strategies of how to build your business's visibility, because it's never safe to have all of your eggs in one basket. So if we haven't met yet, hello, my name is Michelle Lewis, and I am a visibility expert, founder of Visibility Vixen, who helps launching entrepreneurs set up their systems, brand themselves like a badass, and rock their videos and live streaming so that they can skyrocket their visibility, monetize their success, and bring their powerful, one-of-a-kind mission into the online space. I do that through e-courses. I do that through the Facebook group, The Visible Entrepreneur, and the podcast, Visibility Vixen. So today we're going to be talking about visibility beyond Facebook, and I'm going to be talking about the Visibility Summit at the end. I'm excited to chat about that with you. I think that what we really need to discuss is a lot of times we feel like we have to do all the things, right? We're constantly on our phone, figuring out where do I need to post in terms of my group, other groups, my page, my email list, my Instagram, my Twitter, my YouTube, blah, and it can be really, really terrifying. So if you're just starting out, hang on, I got something on my lip. No idea. Cat hair or something disgusting. If we're just starting out, then I don't want you to do all of the strategies I'm going to talk about, because I would rather you take your time perfecting your first platform. If that is Facebook, totally fine. Just make sure you're studying what other people are doing, that you have a list of Facebook groups you want to engage in, and that you are posting in your own group and personal profile at least once a day. That's a really good rule of thumb. Build up to it if that's a little too overwhelming to you right now. But I want to make sure that I'm not throwing all this at you and you're just like, okay, I'm going to try to do it all, and you absolutely burn yourself out, right? So in terms of an empire mindset, the first thing that you need to really get on point is your message, which is why I want you guys to come to Visibility Summit. More on that later. You need to really figure out, how is my business different from everything else on the planet? And how can I bring that point across? Because it's not just my business, but what the revenue from my business is going to facilitate in the world. So if you're still in that microcosm of, I'm doing this to support my family and to have a freer lifestyle, that's wonderful. And that's totally what most of it is about. But I encourage you to take another step back and think about, when I have millions upon millions, how will I further the world or help heal the world in some way? And all of us have a unique burden of how we can help the planet. And I think that's why we're all individually sent down here. So that's number one, because you're not going to be able to build an empire that's going to last a long time if you don't have that global big why perspective. Otherwise, I know you're probably saying, Michelle, I see these entrepreneurs all the time that have millions of dollars and they don't care and they just want to buy their cars and blah, 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 blah. That's totally fine. I have a film TV background, so I used to see those actors all the live long day, and we would call them flashes in the pan, meaning, yes, that entrepreneur might have millions of dollars right now, but they're not going to have the brand loyalty of their raving fans, and they're certainly not going to have the global intention to be able to support themselves staying at that level for very long. So that's how I usually answer that argument. Not that you had it, but I just think that it is worth being said. So have more of that global perspective. Make sure that that's in your message, in your marketing, and that you've really perfected that inside of Facebook. And then we're going to go a couple of steps further. Okay, so number one is Instagram, of course. I know, and you may hate Instagram, and I totally get it. But at the very least, you need to be speaking your message on Instagram, because it's important to start building those followers, because it does make a difference. When you go to apply to be a public speaker, if you go even to apply to be a TEDx speaker, they look at your following. So it is important to have at least the Instagram going. If you feel like you have no engagement on Instagram and that it just sucks and you have no followers, then a great strategy is to either start or jump aboard an Instagram pod. And it's just as simple as putting in a Facebook group and saying, hey, does anyone want to join a pod with me, or does anyone else have a pod that I can join? And what that exchange is that people will share the photos that they post on their profile into that little pod, that DM, with you, and I think it's up to 13 other people. And then in exchange, you will comment on their photo, and then they will comment on your photo. So if you have a pod of 10 people, then you have 10 people commenting on every photo if you're posting once a day. I also like to take it a little step further, which you don't have to do now. But let's say for every one of these platforms we're talking about, we're starting with a video. Okay, you've recorded a video, and let's say it's even a live stream. Okay, going real crazy here. You've done a live stream in this group, like the live stream I'm doing right now. If I were to save that video, then there's a lot of different things that I could do with it. If I was going to be inside of Facebook, I could put it in my group. I could put it in the videos in my business page for future reference, or if I wanted to boost my views in the future. If I was going off of Facebook, then I can put a 1-second clip of that on Instagram. I could, which is step number 2, upload that video to YouTube, which I will be doing with this video. Step number 3, I could turn that video into a podcast. Step number 4, I could either guest blog or write an article about the topic I talked about. So today it would be visibility beyond Facebook, with a link to the video, maybe an embedded image at the top where you could click it and go to the YouTube video. So I just kind of blew through the strategies. I'm going to go through them one by one, but I just want to show you what one piece of content can do. Visibility on Facebook is important, but it's not the only platform. You need to be able to recycle your content to save your time and energy. Holy moly, wouldn't that be nice? So it's an intentional thing that you have to do to go, okay, what are my gifts? What kind of content do I like to share? And then be able to put that across multiple platforms. My phone is just blowing up. I'm going to turn it over. So I really want you to focus on, okay, I have this going on with Facebook. What are the other places where I want to build my empire? So if you're starting at step 1, maybe that is going to just be Instagram, where you're putting up, different photos that you're also sharing on Facebook, and you're putting in videos from live streamings that you're doing. That's fantastic. That's a great place to start. A step further that you're going to want to explore is YouTube. I know that you may not be on YouTube a lot now with Facebook Live, but it's an archive. It's a channel. It's a media platform that you exclusively have. You don't own it. Obviously, you don't own YouTube, but it's really, really important for you to be able, as an empire builder, which is why Marie Forleo made Marie TV, be able to have people coming to your own station. Because right now you're not Oprah. You don't have, all across, TV channels with your own personal network, but you do have the real estate of being able to get on YouTube and upload your knowledge so that you're seen as more of a thought leader by your tribe, where your numbers are more validated when you're applying to be a speaker or applying, to host an event or whatever. And it just helps you be more of that authority, that empire builder, be seen as that empire. What differentiates you from people like Marie Forleo and Russell Brunson and Gary Vee is that they are maximizing their platforms to build their audience on every single one. They have their list, so they know that that's exclusively theirs. They're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and sometimes podcasting. So it's up to you to think about this, but I recommend doing this now, because if you can just start getting in the habit, which I'm going to be doing right after this video, download the video, save it to your hard drive, put in the name of what you did for the live stream, upload it to your YouTube channel. If that's it, then that is a way that you're growing your visibility outside of Facebook, because there's so much you can do once your video's on YouTube. You can take a still, you can put a little play sign, and you can embed that photo into your email so that when you send an email to your list, hey guys, I did a live stream talking about this, this, and this, they can click onto it and go to your channel, subscribe to your channel, right? Or if people are putting in searches like how to build my visibility beyond Facebook, if I put that as a tag in that video for YouTube, that would be one of the first things that pops up. This is the way that you have to start thinking when it comes to marketing yourself, because even though you have fantastic content that you pour your heart and soul into, because those of us starting out, I totally remember being this way, you wanted it to be so good because you're just announcing yourself to the online world. Even if you've been in it like a year and a half, this is still a building phase. So you're putting all this work into your content, but you're not maximizing its exposure. Really important thing to do. So we've talked about Instagram, we've talked about YouTube, and another thing that you can do, you can just strip the audio from your live stream if you want, is podcasting. Podcasting has grown. I mean, it's growing faster than video. I think podcasting and live streaming are kind of tied right now with the growth, but it's an incredible platform to get your voice out there. So there's a couple things that you can do where you can record the audio and then you can upload it to iTunes. Hang on a sec. It was on the Russell Brunson one. His are like 5 minutes, which is really nice. So here we go. There's the Visibility Vixen podcast on iTunes. It's also on Stitcher. And this means you taking your MP3 and having what's called an RSS feed, which you can use as a blog on Squarespace if you want to do it really, really on the cheaps. The other thing that you can do is I would recommend Blueberry over Listbin because it's a little cheaper. You can do it that way. Or the newest platform that came out, which is super exciting because you can do this yourself now just from the app, is Anchor. You can make your own podcast that people can subscribe to, or you can also upload it as, I don't know if you can see, it says a plus sign and it says episode. So I could do that, and then I can publish them as a podcast. So talk about incredible. Before I had like this M audio system and this huge chunky microphone. I still have the stand here. You can kind of see huge. Then we advanced and we were able to do a webcam with a Blue Yeti. And now you can do it from your phone. So there's really no reason outside of time that it's going to be hard to build your empire with a podcast, right? And if you're like, Michelle, I don't want a podcast. It's too much work for me right now. I get it. Then you need to be submitting to be on other people's podcasts, right? Go into a Facebook group. Who has a podcast? Just ask. And then you can PM the person and be like, what's your submission process? I'd love to submit. Look at ones that you listen to. And if you feel like you can genuinely add value to that audience, then, email the people that are in charge of the show and throw in a submission, see what happens. Here's the thing you need to remember if you're going to be doing that with podcasting. You have to be remarkable. And I don't mean saying that you're not. I just say you have to put extra effort into this because I get about 5 submissions a week for people wanting to be on the Visibility Vixen podcast. And I've chosen one person out of, 200 submissions, because so much of it is them wanting to get more glory and more visibility for what they can, what they sell, what they can offer. It has nothing to do with bringing authentic impact to my audience. So know that that's the mentality of your podcast host, is going like, oh, here's another submission. Like, what do they want to broadcast about themselves now? Versus sending a message that says, hey, let's say I wanted to be on Russell's show, right? I'm on a Russell Brunson kick. I'm reading his book, Expert Secrets. So let's say I wanted to be on his show, even though he doesn't have guests, but we're just hypothesizing here. I would say, hey, Russell, I'm Michelle. I know that he lives in Idaho. So I'd say, my parents just got a lake house in Idaho. Isn't that so funny? Ha, 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 ha. I've been loving ClickFunnels. This is how it's grown my business in the past 2 months, and I can't wait to see what happens. I think that I could bring immense value to your audience because I know how many entrepreneurs who sell online courses think that they have to be stuck using multiple platforms instead of ClickFunnels because it's so confusing to figure out. So what I would love to do is come onto your show where in 15 minutes, I can show them exactly how to set up their funnel, how to put their course in there if they're transferring it from Teachable so that they can make their sales page and start making sales that day. Here's my photo, here's my different credentials, blah, 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 blah. And maybe even, and here's a link to a private YouTube video that I did giving an example of what I would teach your audience. Who does that, right? I've never gotten a submission like that. That's one that would at least get put up the stack, right, in the inbox. Maybe it would get highlighted to look at for later because I took the time to specifically say, this is the section of your audience that is still, kind of not advancing in ClickFunnels because they don't know how to do this specific thing. So this is how I can help your audience. I didn't talk one lick about what I've done, what I can promote, or what I can sell. It's all about offering value. And this is what's true of any platform you're on. Of course, if you're on your YouTube channel, like we're going to be talking in a minute about the Visibility Summit, that's fine. But it's coming from a heart of helping you. It's not coming up, okay, I want 10,000 people to sign up for this, so I need to be in this many groups and doing da-da-da-da-da-da. That frequency is so low, it's not going to get you anywhere, right? The frequency of, I know if I have 10,000, I'm just pulling that number out of my butt, 10,000 people sign up for this summit where they're able to master their message for free, which I wish I had, a year and a half ago when I started my business, then each one of them is going to feel that much more clarity. And since I know that they're heart-centered people, because those are the only people that I attract into my tribe, then they're going to be able to go out there and change the world in this many ways, which furthers my mission of helping entrepreneurs go out there and change the world, because ultimately I want to help people heal, step forward in their visibility, and I want to use that revenue to further the healing of our planet through a bunch of different things. And I won't bore you with that. That frequency, which comes back to what we talked about in the beginning of this live stream of building your empire, will do so much more for your visibility strategy. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, podcasts. This will make people crave to hear you. This will make people dying to follow you because you're a forward-moving train, you're a thought leader, and you are building a freaking empire no matter who's jumping on the train. You don't care. If you're in alignment with my vision, jump on the train, but I'm moving. I'm not stopping to see if you're jumping on. Jump on. Bend your knees, push yourself up, and jump on the train. Do you see the difference? Do you see the difference even talking like that versus just like, I build courses and I do this, and so, you should buy this, da, 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 da. It doesn't matter. It's the cause, right? It's that rallying cry that you're giving. Okay, I'm going to get off the soapbox. Number 4 is guest blogging and articles. This translates pretty quickly into PR strategy. So whether you're guest blogging in different platforms or you're submitting articles to be featured in wherever, Huffington Post, Fast Company, I don't care, whatever you want to do, it's a very similar process. So that's an important thing to do. I think it's not, guest blogging isn't as huge as it used to be, but when I first started, I was guest blogging all over the place because I knew even if it was an unheard of blog, it doesn't matter to me because I know I'm taking that link, I'm creating a graphic about what I wrote about, I'm uploading that into my Facebook and into my Twitter with Meet Edgar so that it's constantly cycling. Facebook isn't as much, but Twitter, I have random content that cycles every hour. So it's out there promoting. So whoever's following me or whoever types in the entrepreneur hashtag sees that graphic and goes, oh, she was on this blog. Ooh, she was on this PR thing. Ooh, 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 right? It helps me leverage more of my time out of daily posting because I've taken that link from what I've guested on and put it on there. Same with my podcast, whether I've guested on a podcast or it's my own podcast, create the graphic, put in the little hook line, put in the link, put it up. So this is how I've been able to build my visibility beyond Facebook. Love Facebook. I have my group, The Visible Entrepreneur. I have a private mastermind group. It's a fantastic platform for sure, and it converts. But all your eggs should not be in one basket. So I highly recommend having a strategy for Instagram, for YouTube, for podcasting, and for guest blogging if you really want to cover your bases. But it does take time to build this strategy into your business. So don't go out there and be like, okay, Michelle said this, so I'm going to go on all 4 platforms right now. No, no, no. Start one at a time, start building it, and see how it grows. Do not get discouraged if in 6 months you don't have a ton of followers. This is the snowball. You're in the pushing the snowball up the hill phase, right? Eventually, it's going to crest and then fall down the side of the mountain. Our job is to be prepared for that descent, right? Prepared for when the 10,000 people hit your site overnight. Okay, I hope that's been informative and helpful. I'm going to transition and talk to you guys a little bit about the Visibility Summit, which I've teased on. The Visibility Summit is all about message mastery. And what I've done is I've created an environment with 8 top entrepreneurs in the industry who specialize in talking about your message. What bothers me about summits is that A, it's not beautifully filmed, and I have a film TV background, so I'm sure you can understand why it annoys me. And 2 is that the topics are all over the place, right? It's like 50 entrepreneurs talking about all these subjects in entrepreneurship. And it's like, A, I don't have the time to listen to 50 people. And B, it's not super actionable for me where I'm at right now, right? Oh, so thirsty. So instead, what I've done is there's only 8 people. There's only 8 segments, and we're going to be doing it across 5 days. So it's 2 hours a day. That's all you need to set aside, and you can watch it at any point. They're available for 24 hours after they're released. And you're going to be hearing about from the initial building your core message, to creating a crush-worthy brand, to me talking about intentionally choosing your brand colors to support your audience, Camila Gornia talking about authority positioning, Angie Lee talking about leading your social media with storytelling, Ashley Hanna, how to put that story into a marketing strategy on social media, to Taylor Manning talking about building your sales page to actually convert using your message, and then Jen Burson talking about shaping your PR strategy with your message. So as you can see, it's a very gradual progression of talking about your message, but doing it in a full scope way. My goal is for you to leave feeling like your net message is absolutely nailed. I love it. It was shot on 4K cameras. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. I've busted my hump getting this to you, because if I would have had this when I first started, holy moly, my business would have taken off a lot faster. So the link is in the description. Grab your free seat. You can also hop on over to the Visible Entrepreneur. Would love to have you over there. I'm not going to take up any more of your time because we've already been at 20 minutes. Thank you so much for being here on this live. Feel free to pop your questions in. I will be back to answer questions throughout the day. And in the meantime, get out there, be more visible, and you can do it outside of Facebook as well. Okay, see you guys later.